Hey guys, welcome back to a new knife review. Today we're going to be looking at a cult classic, a legend. It's the Paramilitary 2. There's a good reasons why this is one of the most iconic pocket knives that there is. It's kind of like the Glock or the 1911, where it's always popular and it probably always will be. And there's a lot of reasons. There's some people that hate it. There's some people that love it. A lot of people that love it, actually. So we'll get into some of those reasons why. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the technical specs that I care about, at least. All right, guys. So taking a look at the specs that I care about, we're looking at a blade length of 3.44 inches. Your actual cutting edge is going to be closer to 3 inches, though. You get a little bit of space here that's not used, at least for cutting. Now, blade thickness is 0.14 inches. Blade steel is going to depend on the flavor you get. There's a ton of different ones. I'm not going to touch on the steel too much. I'm just going to be reviewing the model of the Paramilitary 2. However, it does include a full flat ground blade here. Blade HQ has it listed as a clip point. I don't know if you would call that clip or a drop or whatever, but it is what it is. Let's see here. There's a satin finish. There's also black DLC, depending on, like I said, which one you get. G10 handle scales. You get compression lock. Thumb hole, it's the Spidey hole opening. You get the stainless steel liners. Pocket clip is 4-way positionable, so left or right hand, tip up or tip down. So however you like to carry it, you're covered. Lanyard tube is huge. You can fit basically whatever you want in there. 1, 2, maybe even 3 things of paracord if you really feel so inclined to. Yeah, this thing runs on phosphor bronze washers. So yeah, that's about it. Weight is 3.75 ounces. Almost forgot the weight there. Pretty important. Now that we've gotten all that taken care of, let's go ahead and take a look at the blade. All right, guys. So you're probably wondering why I have both models out on the table here. This is my personal blade. The blue, purple, the S110V. I do have this out on loan, however. Reason for that is I wanted to make sure I cross-reference and make sure there's no differences of any kind, that they're pretty, interchangeable, at least in terms of just the model, the action, everything as far as that goes. And they basically are. I mean, there's no real differences. So I just wanted to make sure I showed you guys that I got both in hand, just to show you that I'm staying consistent here. So there's that. I'm gonna be mostly handling and showing my personal model. This is the one that I have the most experience with. Now, moving on from that, we're taking a look at the blade here. Flat ground blade, full flat ground. I'm a huge fan of the full flat ground blades that not only Spyderco does, just in general. I think it's a very fantastic multi-purpose blade. Can tackle pretty much anything that you throw at it cutting wise. Now, you should only be using your blade for cutting, so that's why I don't necessarily care for an overly beefy blade. I have a knife for cutting, for slicing, so that's what I prefer it to do. Because of the full flat ground, you get a pretty precise tip. It's not super thin like we see in some knives, but it's not thick by any means. You can see following the knife here, it's pretty low on where the grind would be, so it's pretty good, pretty precise. Jimping on this knife is fantastic. Spyderco always knocks out the jimping really well. When you get your thumb right on the thumb ramp there, it hits the jimping so perfectly, and they angle it too to hit your finger, right where it sits. So it really works exceptionally well, especially also here on the forward choil. It's really, they do it honestly maybe the best of any production company out there. So huge kudos to them on that. Otherwise, you got the Spidey hole, the opening thumb hole here. I like it. I've heard some people say, maybe it creates a weak spot here that the blade could snap off. Hey, if you're using it in a way that's going to snap the blade, get a different tool. I don't really, when I hear that, whatever, I just kind of ignore it. If you're using your blade for something other than cutting, whatever. One thing that I will say is quite shameful, not only in this knife, but a lot of Spyderco knives, is the absence of a sharpening choil. So you can see here how that edge does not go all the way back. And it's also uneven. So on this side, they attempted to put it all the way back. On this side, not so much. So just throwing in a very small sharpening choil would alleviate that issue and would make sharpening a little bit less painful, but they didn't. So it is an issue, and it does kind of suck. So I don't know if maybe there's part of the manufacturing process that limits that capability, but I don't think so. And like I said, it's really pretty crappy that there isn't one on there. So I don't know if that's a nitpick or something that, is just should be a thing, but thought I would mention it. It's one of the things I don't like about the blade. Probably the only thing I don't like about the blade. So moving on from that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the handle of the knife. All right, guys, we'll touch on the handle here. Not as much to talk about here as we do on the blade, but still a lot of good stuff going on. Now, ergonomics are pretty great, I will say. You get a really good, comfortable, full hand grip on the knife. That goes for this handle, or this, grip, which is just your typical grip. You can also get up there on the forward choil and get a little bit closer to the blade, get a little bit more control for fine detail work. It works really well. It's really comfortable. Even in the forward grip, your fingers still line up in really comfortable spots. You always have a really good positive grip on this knife. So always a good grip, always comfortable. I really like that. Now moving on, you got nested stainless steel liners that are skeletonized. Helps keep it under 4 ounces. That 3.75 is kind of a good target weight. Even if it was a little bit heavier, if they didn't do that, this knife is not heavy. It's distributed, the weight is distributed very well, so you don't feel like it's heavy at all in any sense of the word. So even if they didn't do that, it's not a big deal. This knife handles and carries very well. So aside from that, lanyard tube is huge. Like I said, you fit whatever you want through there if you feel so inclined. Now, construction is one, the freaking tube here acts kind of as a standoff in a way. You get one other one here where body screws are attached. You get the stop pin and the pivot, all T8, I believe. So pretty simple construction, flow through, easy to clean. The compression lock is amazing. Ask anybody what they think of the compression lock. It's supposed to be really strong. I've never really put it to the test, but it's supposed to be. And solid lockup too. So no play in my lockup or anything like that. Pocket clip, tip up, tip down, left or right hand carry. Pretty sweet that they do that. However you like to carry your knife, it's available for you. Pocket clip is just the basic, very basic Spyderco pocket clip they use. Nothing too crazy going on. I will say that lip can come up kind of high. You can kind of see, I don't know if I bent mine down or if it came like that. If it didn't come like that, I definitely bent it down. I've had problems with this clip in the past, just catching it on things. I must just have really bad luck because I seem to do that a lot. I've broken clips off Enduras and Delicas just catching it on random stuff. So I'm not going to take that as a hit on this pocket clip as much as it is just my bad luck with every knife that I have. Yeah, that's about it. Not, like I said, not a whole lot going on here. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the action and fit and finish. All right, guys, let's take a look at the action first, then we'll move on to fit and finish. Action is, honestly, it's amazing. So for a knife, even in this price range, but a knife that's on phosphor bronze washers, the action on this is incredible. So the blade, once you disengage the lock, is fall shut. So really amazing. No blade play up, down, side to side, and the blade is fall shut like that. Just really gives you a look at the manufacturing tolerances. I mean, you could even see the spacing between the handle and the blade is very minimal. So really impressive stuff going on there. Blade is centered and no play. Blade is fall shut like that. The action is just great. There's really nothing else to say, but it's amazing. Anybody that's got a PM2 will tell you the same exact thing. Action is fantastic. Every once in a while you get those lemons that don't really perform as expected, but in general, in almost all cases, PM2 is going to be amazing. Now, there was a little bit of a break-in period, as there is with most phosphor bronze washer knives, but it's pretty short. You're going to want to play with this thing a lot anyways because of the compression lock, so not an issue there. As far as fit and finish, again, everything is pretty much flawless. I'll say the only thing that I can think of to bring up is the G10 here, just on this side, in this area here. You can see like the die for the G10 is worn on the pocket clip screw holes and the lanyard tube area. It's not like that in any other part of the blade here, or any other part of the handle. Definitely not on this side. Everything else is, maybe a tiny bit there, but not nearly as bad as it is on this side. I honestly can't tell you if that was there out of box or if that's something that happened over time. I would be more inclined to say that that's something that happened over time. I feel like I would have noticed it out of the box and remembered it, because stuff like that out of the box kind of QC issues really kill me. But I would be more inclined to say that happened over time, just the way that I was carrying it. Quick and the short of it there, I mean, that there's really not much else to say. Action and fit and finish on PM2s are amazing. So there it is. Now we'll go into overall thoughts and closing statements, and we'll wrap it up. All right, guys. So overall comments, my closing statements here. I love it. It took me a while to get into the Paramilitary 2 game. I didn't want to feel like I was falling for a fad or just the hype. I eventually ended up getting this as a gift, so I can't really turn down a gift like that. So I started carrying it, fell in love pretty much right away. I wasn't too keen on the looks at first, especially, in the closed position. It does, honestly, at least to me, it really doesn't look attractive. Now, when the knife is open, it does look a lot better, but I will say it's still not the best looking knife out there, but it's pretty quick to overlook that fact. Once you get it in hand, once you start using it, it definitely grows on you. Other than that, even for the price has been steadily climbing over the years, probably because demand is always so high. I still think it's worth it. The base model S30, you're going to pay, anywhere from $130 to $140 for it, which, maybe a little steep. I remember the days when it was like $105 to $110, and it's just slowly been going up and up. So availability now is a little bit better than it used to be. It used to be kind of hard to find some back in the day, but now it seems to be a little bit more consistent. Still worth every penny. If you get one of these, you will find yourself using it and carrying it quite a bit. It's just very easy to carry, very nice to use. And like I said, it's just a very iconic knife. It's going to go down as one of the legendary knives that always gets talked about, always gets brought up in the conversation of some of the best EDC knives out there, all things considered. And, without trying to drive up too much hype, I think, all of the praise about this knife is very warranted. So, yeah, I definitely am behind the Paramilitary too. So there it is, guys. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date with me, my videos, the channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.